Do we have to set them?
Hi, everybody. It's Jean Humbrecht with Humbrecht Law, criminal and traffic defense attorney in Manassas, Virginia. Welcome to my local business, semi-weekly local business spotlight. Today, I am joined by Carmen Flores and Nick Kirkland from Because of Why, and I am very excited to hear their presentation today. I told them before we started that I'm probably going to end up being a paying customer after this interview, just from what I already know about them. So Carmen and Nick are the founders of Because of Why, where they aim to empower individuals and organizations to maximize their human potential and generations to come through mental well-being and mindset coaching. They want to make a new standard of living, a new quality of life. So with that, Nick and Carmen, I'm going to turn it over to you while I share this live in some different Facebook pages.
Awesome.
All right. So we do what we do, and we do this because we want to inspire people. And when we inspire people, they can inspire other people to live the life they want to live, to do what they want to do, and to be who they actually want to be in life. And that's really why we do it. We do this through mindset coaching, and we do this with individuals, businesses, and the youth. And right now we're doing a little project right now with youth coaching at Osborne High School with Officer TJ and Team Quest. So it's fun.
Yeah, we just want everyone to have that ability to, maybe they don't feel like they need to get to the point where they need a therapist, but they know they need help. They know they need a step into getting better in their mindset or well-being. And we're there for them in case of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that actually prompts the first question that I had. My question is, can you explain what mindset coaching is? And then also how that differs from other types of coaching, like life coaching and business coaching and financial coaching and all of that?
Yeah, so coaching in general is kind of like a guide, right? So we don't prescribe anything. Everything we do is more about listening to you. Sometimes as humans, we thrive and we need that sense of someone just listening to us and having the comfort of having someone hear us out. But also sometimes we need that guidance, not knowing where we're going, or kind of need that little bit of extra outside perspective. And that's when we come in. The difference between us and other types of coaching is in mindset. We truly believe that everything comes from within, and everything we do is because of the way, again, our minds are set. And so Nick can kind of go a little bit more into that.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally nerd out on this, but the real basis comes from our mindset of what we're setting our minds to in our lives. I mean, a lot of people set their minds to thinking a specific way based on their previous experiences in life, based on what their parents told them, based on their environment they grew up around, based on all of their friends that they surround themselves with. They have these external beliefs, and then it becomes familiar to them. It becomes comfortable to them, and they accept that, and they become exactly just that, even though they don't want to be that. It could be negative, it can be positive, but as humans, we accept beliefs in our lives, and they can sometimes destroy us, and we opt ourselves in for self-sabotaging. And when we want things to go right, they sometimes go wrong because we already set our mind of what we actually want, and sometimes it's not even really just succeeding.
Does that kind of answer the question?
Kind of, but I'm actually curious because I don't know. Well, we've all heard that there are different types of coaching, right? Like there's business coaches, life coaches, and then there's another term, and now I can't even think of what it is. But there's coaches, and then there's something else that people define themselves as. There's also therapists, there's counselors. So can you just maybe explain a little bit, like maybe those different types of coaches to the extent that you like know what they do and how you differ from that? Because I think a lot of people like me have heard of all these different things, and they might not be able to wrap their head around exactly what it is that you do versus what other people do. They just hear coaching, I think, and probably have one idea in their head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just in general, the difference between a therapist and a coach, usually coaches are a little more specific and niche down into the type of help that you want to get. For example, there are emotional coaches that work on your emotional intelligence and kind of those habits and healing that side. As mindset coaches, a lot of our what we do is we deal with the thoughts and mind and how your habits are formed and how that goes into your life. For example, a business coach would go specifically into business, but if you get a business strategy coach, they'll only deal with the strategy. So it kind of depends on the specificness that you need. And then a therapy or a therapist would be kind of more someone that needs just in general mental health that you need help.
Mm-hmm.
So mindset coaching, is that specifically for business, or does that encompass business and personal?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we go ahead and mix both of them in. We used to be just focused on business owners because we had been business owners most of our career. And that was kind of understanding the ups and downs and getting through that. And for us, it was something that we've always been able to get through mindset. We've always studied mindset. And our mentors, they were also mindset coaches. And life is just more fun when you're on the positive side. And it sounds a little cliche, but it is possible to live on that side. But I forgot the question. I'm sorry.
So just kind of distinguishing between mindset coaching and then business coaching, other types of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you work with small business, I mean, you did answer part of the question. So it's personal and business.
Yeah.
So I guess a business coach wouldn't really get into personal aspects, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But just as the same, we would hear a business owner and their problems, but we wouldn't give them necessarily business advice. Like, this is how you
run your business.
Yeah. It'd be more of how do we create a work-life balance? How do we create a environment or a culture in your space so you don't feel stressed or the employees don't feel stressed instead of kind of working through the strategic plans.
Well, let me ask you another couple questions. I guess the first one is, how does one know that they need or should talk to a mindset coach?
Yeah. The biggest way is first you can talk to us, right? We can have that sit down and just say, hey, this is kind of what I'm going through. Some of the biggest ones that we get are just you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed. Maybe you're not satisfied with where you are in life, or maybe you hit a kind of wall in your life. Those are kind of the biggest ones we're dealing with. Or in younger people like teenagers or kids, sometimes it's about they're not confident enough in doing something. They're very doubtful or negative. And children, they're sponges, so when they begin to act very negative, it's kind of a time where we need to go in and just ask them what's going on and kind of work with them in switching that mindset.
It's pretty much when, everyone in life, they get knocked down in the mud, knocked down in the mud with their face in the mud. But a lot of people don't wipe the mud from their eyes and be who they want to be, live the life they want to live. And sometimes they just need guidance. They just need a helping hand to get out of the mud, and they can continue life forward in a more positive direction.
Or another big one would be feeling extremeness of exhaustion, or just like you're kind of living day by day, like kind of it's just another day instead of being excited, and you don't want to kind of like that. That's kind of the moment where we can have a chat and just we can work through it. If it gets a little where we see that you might benefit somewhere else, we're always open to reaching out to someone else and showing you kind of what direction you should go in. Because our number one goal is to help your well-being.
So can you give me an example of a problem somebody might come to you with and what you might do to help them? Just kind of a basic one.
Yeah.
Because you're business owners. I'm a business owner. A lot of people watching this, if you're watching it, by the way, feel free to type your questions in here. We're all business owners, and I think we all, to a certain degree, experience overwhelm, and it's just a matter of how we handle that. So that being said, and every day we get up, we have to go to work, whether it's from home or not, and if we're sick or not, we have to work because it's our business, it's us, the business is us. So like for me, like what would I come to you with? Like what would be something This was a terrible way to introduce this question, but just a business owner who is super busy all the time. I think there's, as I said, there's probably a certain degree of overwhelm, and maybe I'm not using that word properly. But when does somebody come to you, and what exactly is it that they say that they need help with? Just an example, or like what do they tell you their problem is? That they might not even know what they need help with.
Yeah.
It's a very long question.
That's good.
It's more of when, I mean, a common problem is a lot of people end up, how do you say this? Lose their purpose. They don't necessarily remember why they're starting a business or why they're running a business, because in the first place it could have been to achieve financial freedom or to provide for your family more or to have more time for your family. But as they go through the ups and downs along the journey of being an entrepreneur, they forget the actual reason why they're still in the game of being an entrepreneur, of running a business. And that's one of the problems that is very common. Another one is just you're not mentally where you want to be right now. Again, you may be still stuck in the mud and you need a hand to get out, but you don't know how to get out. And
Yeah, a lot of the times that we run into when we work with entrepreneurs in specific is they feel like they're running out of time or they don't have enough time. And so because of that, it kind of spirals into, right, I'm doing everything as much as I can, but at the same time, I feel like I'm not doing as much, or just like you're trying to constantly catch up. And that's where we kind of change our perspective. We do a lot of perspective work and we go in and we show them, hey, you took, because most of our meetings are bi-weekly unless you need more. We'll take that 1 hour, hour and a half, and we'll say, if we really need to, this is the hour and a half that we're just working on wellness. We're working on you. We're working on, resettling everything. If that's, we need to sit down and organize things together. If that's, we need to sit down and talk about what is going on in your life, or how can we work through situations that are making you feel kind of overworked, overwhelmed, or even sometimes our minds get kind of fogged, and that's just because we don't let things out. We kind of try and deal with them on our own. And so being able to say it out loud, and kind of, even for some people, that's another thing. We find out what is best for you. Do you like typing things on the computer? Do you like writing them down? Do you like doing something creative, right? Everybody's mind needs a way of outputting things. And so we kind of help you find that, because our brain works through connectivity. And so being able to connect those things kind of eases your mind and helps you reset and work through those. And then over time, it kind of creates a habit. And that's our biggest goal, recreating new habits. Instead of trying to destroy things and wasting time on taking things apart, we create new things that slowly push the negative things out.
I'm glad I asked those questions, because I think I have a better understanding of it. And correct me if I'm wrong. So everybody's different. So if I came to you guys with whatever issue, someone else comes to you with maybe a similar issue, but because of our backgrounds and the way that I handle things and process things versus the way that other person does, the way that you work with us is going to, me and that other person is going to be totally different, right? Because it's individualized.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So that makes sense. So it's coming to you would make more sense than just picking up a book, because a book is not going to understand everything that's going on in here, right? Like you sit down with me and we have a conversation, and then based on that conversation and everything that I have going on, that's how you tailor how you help me, and same with everybody else, right?
100%. And we just want that bigger accountability partner than that little voice inside our heads.
Accountability partner.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, because people will say, I'll be your accountability partner, and then they don't respond when you text them. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced that with people.
Yeah,
a little bit, but with our, again, we always are there for people. That's our vision.
Well, you guys are. Well, is there anything else that you can tell people about how it is that you can help them? Because I think people's biggest problem is they are in a position where they need the help, but they're so busy that they don't have time, right? Like, so what would you suggest to people to be a sign that, okay, maybe I should talk to somebody because I can't keep going on like this? Because we're constantly going and going. So like, when do we,
Yep.
Yeah.
when's a sign that we need to stop for just a minute?
So number one, I always say is, you need to reach out to us if you kind of you go to work or you go to your business and you start working and then all of a sudden you're home at night and you don't remember half the things that went on and you didn't even eat lunch, right? Because you're kind of just running through things at that point. Or maybe you do eat lunch, but you kind of sit there and you just try and, like catch back up, and but by the end of it, you haven't even eaten your lunch, but you tried to, right? And again, you're just kind of on this wheel. As soon as you start feeling that way, just send us any message. We understand that some people are night owls and some people are early birds. We get messages at 1 a.m. and we get messages at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of once you start realizing that, or in general, right? Some of us are like, in the back of our head, we kind of ask ourselves, maybe I should get some type of help, or at least reach out to someone and talk about what's going on. And then we would be the people you could come to. And again, whether it's with us or we notice that you need more specific help somewhere else, we have those connections to guide you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like your question about that. And like, how do you know, like, when is it the right time? Like, even though you're so busy going places, going everywhere, like, what do you do in that moment?
Right.
And I remember someone else asked this question, and I was just thinking, you have to learn to prioritize yourself. That's the first thing. You got to become aware that you're not prioritizing yourself in your life. And who runs your business? Who is the main person running your business? If it's you, then you need to take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. But you first have to start with you. When you focus on you first, then you can start giving to other people. You can't give what you don't have. And it's like the same thing with love. If you don't have love for yourself internally, if you don't truly accept yourself for who you are, then how can you give love to another person? How can you accept another person in your life? And then I believe as a business owner, there's so many times where you're going to get hit in the face with everything life has to offer. But it's about getting back up, and it's knowing when you do need the help.
That was really deep.
Yeah, I like going deep. Well, okay, pause.
All right, we're not going to go there. No, I lost my train of thought.
Well, I was actually just going to add, since recently we have opened up that we're working with kids now, that's another thing. If anyone out there is watching, if your kid's in a sport, especially, and they're feeling burnt out or they're feeling very fearful or they're just not hitting the markers they used to, or their attitude is starting to change, those are kind of signs that your kid needs to talk to someone. And it's not that something's wrong with them. It may just be they're working through things. And we don't really think of it, but kids go through transitioning times, and everybody's going through different things, and kids are sponges. So it's always good to have them on a track of getting good habits and some positive ones.
And that's why we also open coaching up to everybody now. It's because when we can impact the generation, it doesn't matter if you're up here or you're right here as a teenager or really old. It doesn't matter what generation we start with, because that's going to affect the next generation that comes.
Right.
And I remember when we had this discussion of opening the coaching, especially to the youth, because we both went through something where we were in a darker place, and it was somewhere where we didn't want to be, where we hid it from people, and it felt wrong to even talk to our parents. We felt like we had a problem. And for me specifically, I mean, I'm going to go a little deeper here and be more vulnerable. But when I was in middle school, I witnessed my grandfather die at the hospital. And I saw his last breath. And when he passed, I saw a tear go down his eye. And as a sixth grader and just starting middle school, it really changed my life right there. And I went back to school and I had a huge stuttering problem. All my friends didn't recognize me. I wasn't talking anymore. I was socially awkward. I was very shy. I was very to myself. And I even forced myself to cry in the shower at nights because I noticed that I was healing with time, but I felt guilty for not being sad that my grandfather's gone. Because he was my best friend. He was the person I loved in my life. And I just remember at the hospital, I was just like praying to God. I was like, please just take me instead. Let him live. And I didn't even know what that meant. but I just knew that he was my best friend and I was in a dark place. And then my parents would ask me, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And it was just, as a kid, you don't feel as comfortable being vulnerable and talking with your parents. For me and my family, I mean, we're a great family, but it's just, it didn't feel right to just say all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I like to say we're the outside perspective to help you overcome whatever you're going through, but be that person that can listen to you and not judge you for whatever you're going through.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because I think we all might think that we have people we can talk to that won't judge us. And by the way, I just want to shout out to my friend Corey who popped on. She's a good friend of mine. I can always talk to her. But sometimes we think that we do, but then we really don't, like we don't want to talk to them about certain things, and we might not want to, talk to a counselor or think that we don't need a counselor, and maybe we don't need a counselor. Like maybe we just need to talk to somebody, and like you said, if you think that there's other issues going on or somebody else can better help them, then you could, connect them at that point. But I think it was really good that you said that, because you recognize that that was an issue and your parents recognized that there was something going on. But if you never dealt with that in some way, or even just talked to somebody, then, who knows what, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how long that would have gone on. So I think it's just really good that you said that, because it shows people that they can talk to you or they can talk to other professionals, coaches, therapists, whatever, about anything, and know that they're not going to be judged. And sometimes it probably just helps to talk to somebody, right? Like, because you might not be able to give them an answer, but you can kind of help them talk through it so maybe they can find the answer themselves. I don't know. I'm putting words in your mouth, so I'm going to stop.
Oh, that's
It's making
exactly
me
right.
think a lot.
It sounds a little strange, but a lot of the
Yeah.
times we know all our own answers, but sometimes we doubt our own selves and we need someone else to just kind of ask the right questions, say the right phrases, and we start believing in ourselves a little bit more every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a good way to put it, like asking the right questions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, because like I said earlier, I think based on me asking those long-winded questions that I did, I think it helped me understand more about exactly what it is that you guys do. And I think it's more helpful for other people, because, like I said, when I first heard of coaching and coaches, I would hear business coach, life coach, all these different, and I was like, well, what's different between what you do and what you do and what you do, and who do I need and where do I start? So it sounds like you start with, with mindset coaching, right? Because you kind of look at the big picture, right? And then you just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, and before I put more words in your mouth, is there anything else that you want to tell people about what it is that you do, or mindset coaching, or just anything else that you want to leave people with?
I will say that we kind of do specialize in a couple different places, like in forgiveness and life transformation. And I know I deal a lot with anxiety and working through that. That's a big piece of mine.
Also, life purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, hence our name, because of why. It's very important to know your why, your purpose, and let that be your fuel towards the pursuit of your vision. And there's a difference between your vision and your why, but your why is your motivator. It's what gets you up in the morning. It's what
Excuse me.
it's what gets you when you're at it gets you up when you're at your lowest points in your life, and that's what we also do.
Well, that was actually a great way to end it. Yeah, your purpose and understanding your purpose, and we get in the grind every day and probably forget that. So, thank you guys very much for coming on the live. I really appreciate it. I knew this was going to be very helpful not just for me, but for other people. We actually had a lot of people watching. I can't see exactly who's watching. I just see the number of viewers, but Heather Haney said hello with an emoji, I guess.
Yeah.
Myra Flores, who I think is related to Carmen.
That's
And Adela and my friend Corey and Matthew Flores all love the broadcast. So with that, I guess I will let you guys go. But oh yeah, Matthew had a clapping emoji too. But I think I'd love to have you guys on again to maybe talk about something more specific, maybe the kids. We can do something just about what you guys do with the youth in high school and things like that if you would ever want to come back and
Yeah.
be a little more specific with different groups.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, thank you for having us on, Jean.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And thank you guys all for tuning in. This actually was a pretty popular one, guys. So you have a lot of fans.
Wow.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. And I will see you with my next live on the first Wednesday of February. And Nick and Carmen, you can stay on for a second, but I'm going to end the broadcast. Bye, everybody.
All right. See you guys.